Putin is continuing to advance into Korea.
When did we beat Japan at anything?
Is dispersed with 30 bullets within half a second. 30 magazine clips in half a second.
Right now, if you Google the word idiot, a picture of Donald Trump comes up. I just did that.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Hello, and welcome back once again to the Political Circus Weekly podcast. I am your host, Mike Ursery, and you are listening to episode number 37. Now, you all haven't heard my voice for the past couple of weeks. That's because I was on a much-needed vacation. I took a little break. It was nice to just get away from everything. Nice to kind of turn everything off, give the batteries a chance to recharge, and just take a little rest. It was great. I want to give a big thank you to William Gadsden, the host of Liberty Bites. He filled in my place. Now, there's an episode that came out last week, and I thank him so much for stepping in and hosting that week. He was all set to host the previous week, but then he had something come up last minute. Life happens, and he wasn't able to do it, but I do appreciate him for stepping up and filling in my place while I was gone. So, William, big thank you to you for doing that. So, even though I was gone, I was still keeping up with what's going on in the news because I just can't. Look, I'll be honest with you. By everything that's going on in the news, everything that's going on in the political world, I'm exhausted. And if you're not exhausted by what's going on, I don't know what's wrong with you. Because there's just so much happening, and it seems like it's just one thing after another. And like, at what point, like, is there even really a point that this is going to slow down? I know that we're in the midst of another primary. Oh, by the way, primary debate's coming up next week. But we're in the midst of another primary. Election season is kind of getting into full swing. But just everything else on top of that, it's just one thing after another. So I'm not going to talk about the things that went on while I was gone, but more just about this past week. And yeah, there were a lot of things that went on this past week, but I'm only going to talk about a couple of things. And Robert Mueller testified before the House Judiciary Committee. And look, I'm tired of talking about Russia. I'm tired of thinking about Russia. I'm tired of hearing about Russia. But since it happened, I have to talk about it. I won't spend too much time on it. What I am going to spend a little more time on, and the second topic for this episode, what I'm going to talk about is what is going on in Canada right now with a certain transgender woman, Jessica Yaniv. You've probably heard about this in the news. If not, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, oh boy, you are in for something. And I'm calling it something because I just don't know what name to give this. You'll find out when I get to it. I'm not getting into it just yet, though. First, we'll get into Robert Mueller testifying in front of Congress. Now, all I'm going to say about this is that, yes, Robert Mueller did say things. He didn't really say anything that we already don't know if you read the report, because his answer to almost every question was, that is outside of my purview, or I will direct you to the report. And, what's funny is that he actually, he didn't want to be there. And he made it known that he didn't want to be there, but he was there because he was subpoenaed. Now, the Democrats subpoenaed him because they're the ones who wanted him to come to go onto Capitol Hill and testify. I don't know what for, because he said that everything was already in the report. And, Robert Mueller gave a press conference at the end of May, and if you watched or listened to that press conference, you would have heard Mueller say this.
Now, I hope and expect this to be the only time that I will speak to you in this matter. I am making that decision myself. No one has told me whether I can or should testify or speak further about this matter. There has been discussion about an appearance before Congress. Any testimony from this office would not go beyond our report.
So there you have that. He said 2 months ago, he said, look, here's the report, read it. Everything you want to know from me is in this report, and he doesn't want to testify before Congress. He said he hoped he didn't have to, and he would just refer them to the report. Well, Congress subpoenaed him, told him he needed to be there to answer questions, and all he did was told them, I will direct you to the report. Now, a lot of people who watch this, now there are some people who watch this and they just heard Mueller say exactly that. I will refer you to the report, or that is outside my purview. And there are probably some of those who are watching it and thinking to themselves, he told you. He told you, read the report. But now, as far as Republicans and Democrats who are watching this, they heard one of two things. Republicans who are watching this, all they heard was, Mueller's testimony totally exonerates Trump and people need to move on. Democrats watching it, what they heard was, Mueller's testimony totally proves Trump obstructed justice and Congress needs to impeach. Everyone else is kind of like blah, 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 shut up, shut up, shut up. Everyone else is tired of this and wants to move on from it, tired of hearing about it, just like me. But, you know, there are people who just love to hold on to this and keep talking about it. And I'm at the point now where I'm thinking that this is nothing more than just political theater. Like, if you can just hammer this into the ground, especially the obstruction of justice part. Look, Congress, especially the House, if you really think Trump did obstruct justice, do up articles of impeachment. You keep talking about doing it. You keep talking about the need for it. If you keep saying that it needs to be done, and if you truly think that Donald Trump did obstruct justice during the Mueller investigation, why don't you just do it? Instead of just carrying on like this, because what you're doing right now is just counterproductive. Ridiculous. Now, there was another thing that Mueller said during his press conference, and I will play that for you as well, because there was a thing that he said at the very end that really sticks out, and it's really something that, you know, while we're going on about Russia and about how they're going to, about how we still have people who think that Trump really did collude with Russia, and now we've moved on to obstruction of justice. There is one thing that Mueller said that really isn't happening right now.
And I will close by reiterating the central allegation of our indictments, that there were multiple, systematic efforts to interfere in our election. And that allegation deserves the attention of every American. Thank you. Thank you for being here today.
So there you have it. Yes, there was several attempts by Russia to interfere in our elections, and that should be the concern of every American. In fact, we've even been hearing that Russia is doing it again as we speak, and maybe they are. I don't know how they are, probably flooding social media with all kinds of ads and ridiculous posts like they did before. And, you know, I've said so many times that the reason why they want to do that is because they just want to cause discourse. They don't really prefer any one person to win. They just want, look, they understand and I'm sure other countries around the world understand also, that a divided America is a weak America. And what better way to make America weaker than just by dividing them even further? As if that's possible, but apparently, yeah, it is, because people just become more and more divided all the time. It's getting to the point where the extremists on both sides are becoming the loudest. And right now, the government does not, yeah, they say they're concerned about that. The Democrats in the Senate, actually, no, I'm sorry, the Democrats in the House passed an election security bill, which Mitch McConnell deemed dead on arrival when it reached the Senate. Likely just more political theater. His reasoning for that was because he called it a completely partisan bill. One Republican in the House voted in favor of it. So now he's calling this, every other Republican voted against it. It passed because the Democrats all voted for it. McConnell is calling it partisan. And likely just more political theater. So, but you know, as far as foreign governments influencing the election, you might have noticed what's going on with one of the Democratic presidential candidates, Tulsi Gabbard. Her campaign has made the allegation that Google took down some of her ads. And these are ads for her campaign. This is from CNN. Representative Tulsi Gabbard's presidential campaign sued Google on Thursday after the company suspended the candidate's Google Ads account following last month's Democratic presidential debate. The campaign alleges the corporation used its control over online political speech to silence the candidate. The campaign said its inability to run Google Ads meant it lost out on campaign donations it could have received if users were directed to the candidate's website. After the first Democratic debate last month, Google released data that showed the Hawaii representative was the most searched candidate during the first debate. To take advantage of that momentum, the suit outlines the campaign sought to buy Google Ads as a way of directly reaching people who were searching for information about Gabbard. So now, Google released a statement about this, and they really haven't done anything beyond a statement. They just said that they have procedures in place so that whenever they, what was it that they said? It's further down the article. Okay, here we go. Responding to the suit, Google spokeswoman Riva Ciuto said in a statement that the company has automated systems that flag unusual activity on all advertiser accounts, including large spending changes, in order to prevent fraud and protect our customers. Of course, Gabbard's campaign is alleging that this was intentional. It was not a matter of automated systems. So we'll see how that one plays out. But her campaign is suing Google for $50 million. But, you know, if that is intentional, wouldn't you call that influencing an election? If you are trying to rig the system so that certain candidates who might be gaining popularity, that maybe people in the Democratic establishment wouldn't want to gain popularity, like say someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who is not a part of the Democratic establishment. Someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who in the 2016 election was the DNC vice chair but stepped down to campaign for Bernie Sanders, which turned out to be an ethical decision. Weird. But are people not going to be concerned about this? I mean, there's all kinds of concern about big tech doing things that people think they shouldn't be doing. But when it comes to, I don't know, doing something that might influence an election, are we just going to stay quiet about this? Or are we going to make as much of a fuss about this as we do about Russia influencing our election? But back to this whole thing about political theater, you know, as far as as far as the theater behind all of this, really all it is like, it's just about making your own side look good. Like, have you seen the way people admire and worship politicians in this country these days? It's disgusting. I'm sure you've heard about the Squad, 4 freshman Democrat congresswomen, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley, 4 progressive Democrats, freshman members in the House, call themselves the Squad, and people are eating this up. I even saw a meme this past, late in the week. I saw a meme that was going around. It was a picture of Mount Rushmore, but the faces of the 4 presidents were replaced with the faces of these 4 women. And, seriously? I understand, yeah, we have a Mount Rushmore of athletes and all that, but come on. This is getting insane. And then you have Trump. How many depictions have we seen of Donald Trump? How many times have we seen people comparing Trump to Jesus Christ? Yes, some of those are going around. How many times have we seen Trump depicted as some kind of superhero? How many times have we seen that Trump was handpicked by God to lead America to prosperity? Yes, we have also seen that going around. I've also seen people cherry-picking Bible verses to try to push a political agenda, whether it be to something about Trump personally, or if it might be something about building a wall or whatever. It's funny. I see Republicans cherry-picking Bible verses for a GOP agenda. I've seen Democrats cherry-picking Bible verses to fit their Democratic socialist agenda. Stop. Okay, stop. There is nothing political in the Bible. Stop it. And, I look at all that and I'm disgusted by it. Politician worship is incredibly gross. Do you know what else is incredibly gross? The story about this transgender woman in Canada who has demanded a Brazilian wax and was denied service. So this person, their given name is Jonathan Yaniv, but they go by the name Jessica Yaniv. And Yaniv has filed 16 ethics complaints with the British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal against estheticians who have refused to offer bikini wax services to them. Well, the reason that they don't want to offer service to this person is not because they're transphobic, although that is what this person is alleging in all 16 complaints. No, the reason that they don't want to offer Yaniv any service is because Yaniv, while claiming to be a woman, Yaniv has a penis. And these poor women just don't want to touch his junk. So Yaniv obviously doesn't see it that way and is claiming discrimination and filing complaints. Look, this should be really simple. I don't understand why this is even a thing. I don't understand why this is being framed in the news the way that it's being framed. I don't understand why this is being framed as a transgender issue. Listen, look, this should be really simple. If a woman doesn't want to touch a penis, she doesn't have to. I mean, isn't this the reason why we had a Me Too movement that started a couple of years ago? Because women were being forced to do things that they didn't want to do? Trans or not, a woman should be allowed to say, I don't want that thing near me. But we have a transgender person filing a complaint, Yaniv, who claims to be a member of the LGBT community, is claiming discrimination. So it seems that we have a conundrum that was started by the SJW left. The SJW left has designated all these different classes of people who are oppressed. Anyone who isn't white, anyone who isn't male, anyone who isn't heterosexual. Are you seeing the conundrum? So the most recent woman that Yanev has filed a complaint against, she is an immigrant from Brazil. So you have this immigrant woman from South America. Then you have Yanev, a transgender woman, meaning a man who identifies as a woman. Yanev is white, has a penis, but technically I guess Yanev is not a white male. So, well, who's more oppressed in this scenario? Let's do some math. Okay, so I'm going to try to do some math here. Math, of course, is not my strong suit. I had to take college algebra twice because I sucked at it. But, okay, so we have a minority woman who claims she doesn't feel comfortable touching male genitalia. She's the owner of her own business, one that she started and planned. Oh, yeah, by the way, she runs this out of her home, a home that has small children in it. Man, that poor lady. So apparently she did some communicating back and forth with Yanev. I guess they were making arrangements for Yanev to go there and get a bikini wax done. But then Yanev sent this woman a selfie, and after that she made it clear she didn't feel comfortable offering service to Yanev. Her husband also objected to it. And then you have Yanev, who is just trying to get a bikini wax. So, doing the math here, yeah, I keep coming back to the conclusion that a woman shouldn't have to touch a penis if she doesn't want to. In my own opinion, this really shouldn't need to be a debate. I mean, like, is the Me Too movement now colliding with the LGBT community? Gosh. Enjoy the monster that you've created. You know, personally, whenever you look at Yanev's history, I can't tell if Yanev is a transgender person who legitimately is mentally ill, or if Yanev just wants to be a creep and trying to find a way to make it justified. So here's something from the Post-Millennial. The Post-Millennial has given quite a bit of coverage to this, and they have unearthed some pretty interesting things about this individual. So, Post-Millennial has done a story about a young woman named Jessica Rumpel, a young woman who, Rumpel, I'm not sure how you say that, a young woman who claims that she was harassed by Yanev a while back when she was just 14 years old. I think now she's like 20 or something. Anyway, Post-Millennial. Jessica Rumpel, the young woman who Yanev allegedly engaged in inappropriate sexual behaviors online with when she was between the ages of 14 and 15, has confirmed that she has filed a child exploitation report against Yanev with CyberTip on the incidents. A young woman has come forward with serious allegations of abuse against Jonathan Jessica Yanev. Yanev, a male-to-female transgender, has recently risen to infamy for the Human Rights Tribunal suits she has taken out against 16 estheticians for declining to perform waxing services on her male genitals. Okay. While the suits are ongoing, a publication ban on Yanev's name and the content of her case and history was lifted during recent hearings, allowing details of her disturbing past behavior to come to light. 20-year-old Jessica Rumpel of Sammamish, Washington State, has disclosed details to the Post-Millennial of her encounters with Jessica Yanev. Rumpel was just 14 years old at the time of the interactions, turning 15. And it shows some screenshots of just those two talking back and forth. At first, I thought, this guy seems to have some kind of mental issues of some sort, she says. I didn't think he was a predator at first. Yanev made contact with Rumpel through social media site ask.fm, where people, including those who are anonymous, can ask questions of users and receive answers in short form. Rumpel states that Yanev sent her a series of disturbing questions while anonymous before adding her to the private messenger application Kik. Kik is known to law enforcement for its notoriously poor protection of children and its routine usage by pedophiles to message each other and their victims. According to Rumpel, Yanev allegedly presented himself as a young man in his late 20s and claims that he used pictures of himself when he was younger in their initial conversation. How old is Yanev? If he's using pictures of himself when he was younger and he's presenting himself being in his late 20s, how old is he? Rumpel states it was sympathy that caused her to continue contact with Yanev initially. He liked to make himself be the victim. He actually told me he had folliculitis and depression. Pitying who she thought was an emotionally pained young man, Rumpel maintained some regular contact with Yanev. I always wanted to be there for anyone who was suffering, anyone who needed someone to listen to them. Oh, okay, so it looks like he or she, or we'll just say Yanev. Yanev is actually preying on this young girl's character trait. Okay. She is a compassionate, sympathetic person, and he is preying on that. Interesting. Just like any other 15-year-old girl, she enjoyed having another friend to talk to, but the conversations often took an uncomfortable turn. Yanev always told me he uses pads and wants to go into the ladies' bathroom. Yanev asked me how to go into the ladies' bathroom without being caught, and then how to be in the bathroom. If there's a lot of women or girls, Rumpel recalled, Yanev even asked me what stall to go in. According to Rumpel, Yanev did not identify as transgender at any point during their interactions. She believed Yanev simply had a fetish for bathrooms, pads, and girls' clothing, as Yanev would also begin sending Rumpel worrying messages, including photos of himself in girls' jeans, asking for comments and compliments from the then 15-year-old. Eventually, Yanev's attentions turned overtly sexual. And it shows another screenshot. I'm not going to say what these things say because it's disgusting. But, so Yanev called me titty queen, she says, even asked me to marry him, and I was only 15. He said he couldn't wait until I turned 16. Yanev was born in 1987. He is currently 32. Oh, that answers my earlier question. At the time of these messages, he would have been 27. As has been revealed from previously exposed conversations, Yanev often directed his comments towards menstrual stuff, even going so far as to pester Rumpel to take photos of her used feminine hygiene products. What a weirdo. Yanev would send Rumpel disturbing voice messages in an Elmo voice, saying things such as, I'm not going to repeat that. In the final clip, Yanev is heard saying, "I love you, Jess Rumpel." I'm not gonna repeat that either. Rumpel explains that Yanev had an Elmo character profile on ask.fm and used it to send her questions. At first, she thought it was adorable, but when it became sexual, like with all of Yanev's other behaviors, she felt uncomfortable and violated. She began responding less and less to Yanev and sending him defensive messages in an attempt to force him to go away. Rumpel claims that what was left of her sympathy finally wore off when other girls approached her and claimed Yanev had treated them in a similar or worse fashion. The girls saw Yanev's comments to Rumpel on her ask.fm and tried to warn her. Yanev told these girls he was 17, Rumpel says. I started to call Yanev out on my ask.fm, and these other girls messaged me and said Yanev was a liar and broke their hearts. Rumpel says she learned of Yanev's impropriety and human rights suits after Yanev followed her on Twitter. Last week I decided to check who follows me, and I found Jessica Yanev. At first I was like, who the heck is that? And then I recognized the last name and that face. Rumpel also claims She was scared when she learned that Yaniv changed her name to Jessica. I clicked on the profile and saw the proud lesbian photo, and that a lot of people were commenting about Yaniv being a creep. I saw the screenshots they had of Yaniv asking the most disturbing questions. Rumpel says it was this realization that compelled her to come forward. I cannot express my feelings. My thoughts are with the other young girls Yaniv has done this to. The post-millennial reached out to Jessica Yaniv for comment, who claimed no knowledge of who Rumpel was, stating, "I have no idea who that is." Yaniv then also claimed the messages Rumpel had received may have been from a fake account, stating there have been a lot of fake accounts of me out there and a lot of people trying to put disparaging content out there. So I have no idea who this person is at all. However, the post-millennial was able to verify that the messages Rumpel received did indeed come from Yaniv's verified Trusted Nerd Facebook account. Yeah, fake accounts putting out disparaging content. So let's see. Rumpel now is 20. This happened when she was 14 going on 15, so probably about 5.5 years ago. Did anyone know who Jonathan Yaniv was 5.5 years ago? Probably not. So was anyone going to make a bunch of fake accounts about some random person to put out disparaging content and ruin his name for absolutely no reason? I doubt it. You know, Yaniv did an interview with Alex Jones on his show this past week, and Yaniv told Jones the same thing that, you know, because he showed Yaniv a bunch of screenshots of messages that allegedly were from Yaniv, and Yaniv said those are all fake. Well, you know, Yaniv has been doing a few interviews and has been saying that over and over again, but whenever people start to ask like pressing questions and questions that Yaniv doesn't want to answer, they hang up. They just hang up and they end the interview. It's so strange. And, you know, another disturbing thing is that Yaniv now wants to throw some sort of like LGBT pool party, and he wants it to make it for age 12 and up, wants to restrict parents and guardians, and wants to give people the option of being topless. Yes, people aged as young as 12 years old are invited to a party which their parents cannot attend, and they are encouraged to go around topless. Tell me that's not sick. The Libertarian Republic did an article about it this week. The article is entitled "Transgender Waxtivist Invites Children to Join Topless Pool Party." Transgender activist Jessica Yaniv made headlines for filing a human rights violation suit against a body waxing business for declining to wax her male genitalia. The salon owner, Marcia da Silva, blah, 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 blah. We already know about this. Okay, here we go. Yaniv complained on Twitter from the handle @TrustedNerd about a party being shut down due to threats from anti-LGBT people. And they embed the tweet in the article. Says, "I can't believe the Youth All Body Swim was shut down due to threats from the anti-LGBT. They are awful people. #LGBTQ. The anger was in response to the party encouraging participants to go topless, with invites extending to children as young as 12 years old. On July 6th, Twitter user and publicist Sharika Soul warned people about the event that was originally scheduled for July 10th. And the tweet from Sharika Soul says, "LGBTQ plus All Body Swim in Langley, British Columbia is an upcoming pool party on July 10th. Put on by adults where only children are allowed to enter. The flyer says that kids can be topless and strictly prohibits legal adult guardians from entering." Yaniv then rescheduled the event for July 22nd. The event flyers detailed that no parents were allowed to attend the private event. They also stated that only anything below the waist must be covered. Why? While the waist-down coverage requirement may sound tongue-in-cheek, Yaniv's application to Township Council was much more explicit. In the application request, Yaniv writes, "Permission for LGBTQ2S+, organizations to be allowed to host an all-body swim at TOL civic pools for people, TOL stands for Township of Langley, for people aged 12 plus, where these events will be restricted to LGBTQ2S, and individuals will be permitted to be topless at their leisure in compliance with the laws of Canada, and where parents and caretakers will be prohibited from attending these events as is considered safe and inclusive. Yeah, sure. Good grief. Yeah, this person is either putting on a front or is extremely disturbed. Either way, this is not normal. This is not normal at all, and that pool party hopefully never happens. It needs to be shut down, and this person's entire act needs to be shut down. This person belongs in handcuffs, to be honest with you. I mean, preying on underage girls online, wanting to be around underage girls inappropriately, and not allowing their parents to be present. This person belongs in cuffs. This person belongs away from society. This is not normal at all. I wonder what the next thing we're going to hear about this one is, because this is just ridiculous. Anyway, my time is about up for this week's episode. It's really good to be back. But, you know, this is by far the most ridiculous thing I've talked about since I started this podcast. By far. Nothing else comes close to this. You know, just makes me wonder what I'm going to be talking about next week. Most likely the debates, because the debates are next week. But thanks for listening to this week's episode, and I will see you all again. Thank you so much for listening.
Thing sucks.